Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Children. I hope you're safe and well. Today, I'm catching up with my good friend Sanj Kumar, who is the CEO of ELRIG UK. And today, we are going to preview ELRIG's upcoming Cell and Gene Therapy 2026 event, which is running at Hinxton Hall, Cambridge on March the 9th and 10th.
Yep.
But before we do that, Sanj was actually in Boston, and Boston, I understand, was extremely cold last week for SLAS 2026. So, Sanj, before we talk about your event, how was Boston? Was it as cold as everyone was making out? And how
It
was the event for SLAS?
it was
And
cold, but
sorry, for Elrig, I should say. How was the event for you?
I'll answer for both because I'm
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
But no, I didn't go out of the hotel, Riz. I stayed in the Westin, which has a bridge
Yes,
link,
I know it well. Yeah.
so I didn't go out. I didn't for 3, 4 days I was there. I didn't go out. I even used the gym while I was there, and I was running on the treadmill, watching the snow coming down, thinking I'm not going anywhere. So it must have been cold outside, but I didn't experience it. But it was an excellent event. I mean, that is such a great event, and it's. I'm so proud of the SLS team and Vicky and her team what they do there because it's a shining light for the entire industry. I know Vicky won't mind me saying this, but it's a long event. It's 3, 4 days long, and it's even longer for them because there's the build and there's the
Sure.
take down the exhibition. But I believe they, as always, had record-breaking numbers, plus 7,000 registrants, plus 400 exhibitors, and great science as always. So I always go there and love to be part of it. Alrig loves to be part of it as well. We had a small booth. We always do because we just want people to know what can happen in Europe as well. We had a lot of visitors. I haven't yet followed up all my leads. Typical. I've got a bunch of stuff to follow up.
Oh,
But
you'd hate to see my desk then with a pile of business cards which are still sitting there from a year ago, mate.
yeah,
Don't
exactly. That's
worry.
the issue. But there's a lot of interest in our rig now because I think mainly because it's an American audience over there, and despite some of the challenges in the industry, both in the pharma, biotech industry, but also in now the supply tools industry as well, people still want to access the marketplace. So people are looking at Elrig as a way of coming to Europe to access customers. And Elrig had its best year ever last year. We grew by 25%. We had more delegates than ever. So people are obviously beginning to solidify their marketing plans to use Elrig conferences as event-based marketing. So they're going to go to that event to promote themselves, their brand,
Sure.
and to meet their customers. So they were coming to us and they were talking to us also, and we can talk about this at the end. Riz, is that Elrig is going to be doing its first conference in Boston in the USA. So we had a lot of people coming who are showing a lot of interest in that. But we'll table that and talk that at the end. Yeah.
Sure, let's do that, sure.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, well, let's talk about the event which you've got coming up in March, which is obviously cell and gene therapy. Now, am I correct in saying, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but was this a one-day event last year?
Yeah, exactly. And we had such a an interest in it, both from an audience point of view. So, when we have a 1 day event, we tend to limit the capacity to about 100 to 120 odd people, something like that. We call them forums in Elrig. And we were oversubscribed in terms of capacity. So we got more registrants than we could accommodate. So we had to
Sure.
turn people away. So that was one of the drivers. The second driver is just the science, I think. Cell and gene therapy, advanced therapies, whatever you'd like to give it as a name, is just this most incredible set of scientific tools and principles and just producing great therapies right now. But that's not without its problems as well, which we'll talk about as for one of these meetings. So when we decided for this year's meeting, at the time that we put this together, we thought, well, there's a demand from a delegate point of view. There's lots of science going on, and of course, because all Elrig events are free to attend, and we're supported by the vendor community, there's lots of interest from the vendors as well. So we will go
Right.
ahead and turn this into a 2 day meeting, which we have done.
Brilliant. Well, look, for people who haven't been to an LRIG event, and there will be surprisingly still some who haven't, um, what can they expect to see if they come to cell and gene therapy in March?
Yeah. So it's in Hinxton Hall, as you said, which is a conference centre in the Wellcome campus down south of Cambridge. It is a 2-day event meeting that is split into a number of tracks, and I can go through those tracks in a short while. But from a very broad point of view, we are expecting over 400 delegates to this meeting. So at this moment in time, we've had something in the region of 450 register. We've issued 350 odd tickets. So we will get another 150 this week. There's a lot of activities happening this week to
I
mark.
have to register yet. I know the deadline's coming up fast as well,
You
isn't it?
need to register, especially if you want parking as well. Um, do that. But we'll end up with about 400 over 2 days. On each day, we have around about six speakers, scientific speakers per day, so 12 across the 2 days, plus they're interspersed with sponsors talks, which will talk about the technologies that you can use in cell and gene therapy. And that's all surrounded by around about 30 exhibitors. So we have 30 exhibitors who are taking booths. They're the ones who actually, help make the
Sure.
events go forward because they pay for their sponsorship opportunities to meet the delegates. So as ever, I mean, Kingston's a great location for a conference, but this is going to be a very buzzy, very interesting couple of days, and we're very much looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Now, I know you have, and look, viewers, by the way, we won't go through the whole tracks or everything because that's very easy to go to the website and you can see that for yourselves. But I know you have got a patient advocate speaking about, well, really almost a case study because I know the person who's speaking, their child went through cell and gene therapy.
Yeah,
So
correct.
so tell viewers a bit more about what that's all about and what people can expect to hear from her
Yeah.
at the event.
I'm not going to talk about the science risk because I know that you're due to speak with her and
Yeah,
the professor who's been working with her and her son.
yeah,
So let's just come in at a 10,000 foot level, which is to talk about. We wanted to do things slightly differently. As always, we have got rock star speakers coming from all over. I mean, ELRIG does this so well. Our science is just second to none. So we have, the conference directors, David and Verena and Eve, who've put together the program, and then we've got some great keynotes. Stephen Ward is the Chief Technology Officer, Cell and Gene Therapy Catapult, Anna Rita, who's from the Institut Imagine in Paris. They're all going to come and talk about their experiences in scientific experiences. And then we have some track chairs like Rajavinder, Tim, Karen. I am reading the list, so I don't miss
don't worry about that.
who have then invited speakers. And Rajavinder actually said, let's do things slightly differently. And all the other track chairs and conference directors agreed on this because we thought, rather than just talk about science, why don't we talk about the impact of the science from a human perspective?
Sure.
So for the first time ever, we've invited what's called a patient advocate, Dharmisha. She will come in. She's the mother of a young son, Sebastian, who had um, a disease which can only be cured by cellular therapy. Now, I haven't heard the talk. I've not spoken to Amisha, but I am looking forward to that talk a lot because I think for the first time we're going to look and see how actually life-changing these therapies are. Okay,
Sure.
one of the challenges is about these therapies is they tend to be quite niche, and by that I mean that there's not a lot of people who suffer from them. So that makes the business case very difficult for big pharma. But on the
Definitely.
other, to justify the investment in R&D and then going to market, and that's not a criticism of big pharma at all. These are rare diseases. But it does mean that the big pharma have been slowly pulling back from finding new therapies, cellular therapies. And there's been lots of news about companies shutting down their um, their departments globally. Um, but then you see the impact of the science, and that's what I'm looking forward to hear about. That Dharmisha, who has a little son, Sebastian, and she's going to talk about how it's impacted the cellular therapy that her, Rajvinda, and all the team around them put together for this little boy, and how life-changing that is. And I think that's the important message. We quite often think, well, it's the science is great, or we think that this is, this is a therapy that we need to hit. There's a business behind this. But this particular talk is going to be about the human impact. And Dharmisha
And
has
that's
said
fantastic.
in her abstract, that this has been life-changing, enabling, but it wasn't easy. I'm
Well, I
sure it
think
wasn't.
that's the important thing, isn't it? I mean, I've been fortunate to go to a lot of events over the last 24 months around cell and gene therapy, and the number one thing which constantly comes up is how can you scale it, particularly
Yeah,
when you talk about the therapies are for quite niche diseases sometimes,
correct.
and how do you make it accessible to patients who really need it?
Yeah.
Because that's the fundamental thing, isn't it? You've got these therapies out there, but
Yeah.
how can you get people to gain access to those therapies, to have them?
Especially because the science is effective, the treatments are efficacious, it's working, but the healthcare systems are not set up appropriately. The business case behind this as well, and unfortunately, medicine is a business. Is also challenging as well. So I think that's going to be a really interesting talk, Riz, and you and I could sit there at the front and we could watch that together.
I look forward to it. Now, that's fantastic. Now, one final question. Now, viewers, if you really want to see the full program, because obviously I don't really want Sanj reading out the whole list because it
Yeah,
will take a long
fair.
time. And to be honest, you can look for it yourself. But I will put the link in the comments so you can go straight to the agenda and have a look at all the different speakers and what the topics are. But Sanj, I know you do great events and they're very, 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 very popular. So if someone's watching this now and thinking, oh yeah, well, this is just another cell and gene therapy event. There's so many of them about these days. Why should I come to the ELRIG event in March? Why should people come to your event? And why should they book by the 20th of this month? Because that's the deadline to actually register for the event.
For the science, Riz. Absolutely for the science. If you want to get a snapshot of the great work in depth that is happening within this area, you come for the science. We have got some real, as I said, rock stars who are coming to talk. I also think we're a very informal organization as well. We really encourage networking between all the participants. So you come and you feel you're part of a family. So you can meet other people, you can discuss with other people as well. And let's be fair, it's free to attend, Riz. So you can get a ticket now, and it's not going to cost you. It's just your travel and perhaps your accommodation that you have to pay for. We'll even give lunch as well as part of that ticket as well. That's part of our.
And you do, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was nice lunch often. So that's good. I don't say that lightly. So that's great. So now let's talk about not the whole of the year because you've got a lot of stuff going on, but let's talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
what the first half of this year.
Sure.
After March, what have you got coming on? And then we can talk a bit more about Drug Discovery 2026 in the USA, your new event. So
Yeah.
uh, let's talk about what other events have you got coming up to
Um,
the end of June?
So Elrig likes to put on different science for the drug discovery community. So remember that this is science for the drug discovery community. So when you come, you're going to hear great science, and it's focused on the drug discovery community. Our next conference after this is in May in AstraZeneca Gothenburg, and that's advances in cell-based screening and drug discovery. Now that's a biennial. That means it happens every 2 years. AstraZeneca are so generous in giving us their space. They gift us their space. That event has happened for gosh, maybe it's 8 years. It must be coming up to now, for eight iterations, about 16 years or so. And we expect about 400 people to attend the event, and it's all about cell-based assays in drug discovery. We're also going to be doing an event in Loughborough for the first time. Sorry, the cell-based assays is a 2-day event. Um, and then we do a 1-day event in Loughborough, University of Loughborough. Again, they gifted us their space, and we're grateful to them. And that's on complex models. So you've got cell-based assays, which is quite a traditional technique where you have a cell in a plate and you put in a compound and you measure what happens in there. Well, that's evolving now into something called NAMs, and those who know what NAMs is know what NAMs is, but these are complex models. And we're beginning to look at that now. So the Loughborough meeting will actually take place in April, One-day event, it will look more about how cell-based assays has become NAMs or complex models. So that could be organoids, it could be lab on a chip, it could be organs on a chips, it could be all sorts of things. Then we go to Berlin. We're actually working with our good friends at Oxford
Yep.
Global, and we've put on a track for them in Berlin. So they have a large meeting that takes place over 3 days, and they invited us to put on an ELRIG track within their event. So we'll be going to Berlin to do that, and that's on target validation, and a very sort of German theme to that because we invite a lot of speakers that are close to Berlin. And then that brings us to the end of June, and that's when we go into the US, Riz. So we can talk about the Boston meeting now.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. So, I know you did an event for the first time in the US last year, which was
Correct.
obviously just I'm guessing more of a trial event to see how it went.
Exactly
But
right.
so maybe you can tell viewers how that went
Yeah,
and what they can expect to see at the new Drug Discovery USA
yeah,
Edition 1
yeah,
2026.
yeah. So we went to Boston last year, and it was mainly on the behest of our community. Our community was saying to us, "We want to connect with the US. You're doing a great job in going to Europe, Sanj." Well, Sand and the team, not just me, of course. But ELRIG, UK-based company, but we're very nicely now going to Germany. You've heard that, Sweden, France as well, all the even the Netherlands. We're going to all these uh, other countries, and actually, Rizwan, you just reminded me, we actually have a link up with the Spanish Drug Discovery Network. So we're doing a webinar with them at the end of March.
Right.
So we're starting to talk to the Spanish community as well, and we'll be supporting their event in November later this year. But they said, "Can you go to the US?" So we said we could, and we reached out to our contacts, and very kindly, MSD, based just near Harvard in Boston,
Yep.
offered us their space free of charge. So they gave us their space in a very hot summer in Boston. So it's extreme the weather over there. And we had a 1 day event on neuroimmunology, and it was a blockbuster. I couldn't believe it. It was incredible. We had 1 day, we had over 120 delegates, we had 10 to 12 exhibitors, and a beautiful space in MSD. And we had track chairs from there was Matt Fell from MSD, there was Swana from AstraZeneca, and they helped us support that event. And the message was, wow, this is such a great event. You cannot normally get science of this quality for free in Boston. You have to do this again. So when they said that, Pfizer stepped forward and said, well, we have a facility. It's just outside of Kendall Square
Yep, I know where it is. Yeah.
yeah, and we'd like you to do an event there this year. And we went to view that space, and they're not wrong. I mean, they have a space, but that space actually is a very large space and can actually fit about 250 people in it. So when we looked at that, we thought, well, hang on a minute, let's take this from a 1 day event, just like we did with cell and gene therapy, to a 2 day event, and let's make it generic on drug discovery. So we now have in June a 2 day event in Boston, in Pfizer's facilities in Boston, just outside of Kendall Square. And it's all about emerging technologies and emerging targets within drug discovery. And again, we're getting a rock star lineup there. We have Alid Edwards from the SGC in Toronto as a track chair. We have Swana again from AstraZeneca as I'm sorry, these are conference directors. I apologize. Alid is a conference director, Swana is a conference director, and then Maria from Pfizer, who's also a conference director as well. So we're beginning to put together a program. Again, it's going to be free to attend. It's going to be 2 days, at least 6 speakers per day, and I think we'll have about 15 exhibitor spots, as well as a breakthrough zone, which is a little area for startups and post.
Sure.
So it's a proper conference that's happening in Boston this summer.
Fantastic. And obviously, though, I know this is the first time you're doing this as a two-day event, um, but people who've been to obviously Drug Discovery in the UK will know that is a very big event. We have like 3,000 visitors, and
Yeah.
I think this last year you had 150 or 200 exhibitors. I don't want to play how your success, but I know it's a fantastic show in Liverpool, and I
Mm.
know this year is going to be actually your anniversary. Is it
Yep,
15 or 25 years? I can't
20,
do
20, 20, in the
20
middle.
years. So I got both ends in a little loud, but anyway, 20 years you're celebrating this year at the XL. Um, so just to manage people's expectations,
Yeah,
say because if people know how good drug discovery is in the UK and they find out the US people obviously saw how good it was last year in your one day event, what happens if you get more than 250 people wanting to come?
yeah,
What's
that's
the
a
plan?
great question.
Because I'm being serious. But I mean, 250
Wow.
is a reasonable number, but actually for a 2 day event,
Yeah,
given that it's free and
yeah.
you don't normally get free events
Yeah.
in the States like this, um, have you got any contingencies to have an expanded venue or have more people than 250? Or are you going to put a
Well,
limit to it?
yeah, this year it'll have to be 250. Our host Fires are very kindly gifting us the site again. We have to be mindful of their hospitality, let's say.
Sure.
So there is always health and safety around this, so we'll have to limit it to 250 this year.
Well, there you
But
go, Buse. If you really want to get involved in Drug Discovery 2026 USA, then I would make sure that as soon as it's
yeah,
available to register, you register
well,
ASAP.
it's open now. We had it open for the SLAS meeting, so it's open now. You can register now.
Right, fantastic. Well, look, there you go. Now, I can't obviously finish without actually asking you about Drug Discovery 2026 and X, as it is your 20th anniversary as well. So, what can we expect to see given it is the 20th anniversary
Yeah,
this
I
year?
think this.
Can you reveal anything about it?
Well, we're going to launch it mid-April, so everything will be open mid-April. So this is really just teaser right now. You can't register for it yet.
Right, okay.
You can buy a booth for it if you wish, if you're a sponsor wish to buy a booth. But we are at this moment in time. I would say we're about 50 to 60% of speakers are in place. So we want to announce that the tracks later. We have our keynote in place. Um, I won't say who that is because we'll press release that
Sure,
middle of April. We're not doing two keynotes this year because it is our 20th anniversary. So we're actually going to do a keynote on day one. And then on day two, we're going to have a keynote panel. So that's the great and the good of the industry who will talk about 20 years of drug discovery that's gone and then look forward to 20 years of drug
sure,
discovery that's coming. So that'll be a really interactive session. So rather than a second keynote, we're going to have a panel discussion. I'll give you the broad brush numbers. It is in London Excel. We have 11,000 square meters. That should have a capacity of 3,000 people per day. I have a feeling it'll be bigger than that. Because Liverpool was about that size last
sure,
year, of course, you go to London. Again, no disrespect to Liverpool, but London is very accessible to a lot of people from a lot of
sure.
different places. Excel is a very big venue, so we can probably squeeze in more than 3,000 people per day. We have 8 tracks of science going per day, so that's 16 tracks of science. In the 2 day event, each track will have 6 speakers, so there's something like 150 speakers over 2 days.
Right,
Okay? We are targeting around about 260 to 280 exhibitors.
right,
We already are at 55 to 60% sold, so that's going very well. And be aware that there's for the early career professional contingent of people just starting their careers, there's also what we call mini drug discovery, which takes place on the day before drug discovery happens,
right.
which is like a training session on what is drug discovery. So we get a number of speakers up to talk to that group of people. To say that this is why this is what drug discovery is about and why you should come into drug discovery. And then the idea is that they learn about it, and the next 2 days they spend actually listening to talks. So and within those 2 days, not only will we have the main science, we also have the vocational learning zone, which is all about getting a job in these current difficult times. We'll have people to do mentoring. We'll have people to do um, workshops and etc. etc. We have the breakthrough zone, which is for the startups. We're going from 24 spaces to 40 spaces for startups. It's all ramping up, right? And I'm sure I've forgotten stuff. And we've also selected where we're doing the speaker dinner, or the chairs reception, as it's called, Riz. And I think I'll announce that later. But I'm really
Oh,
pleased. Shall I tell you? I can give you an exclusive.
God, I'll be going to obviously to film it, so at least I know plan ahead.
It's in City Hall.
All
So
right, cool.
yeah, so City Hall is actually where the London Mayor's Assembly is held, and we signed an agreement with them this week to say that we would hold the chair's reception, the speaker's reception in City Hall,
That's
which is
cool because
actually
that is on the South Bank and it's on the you can.
no, it's only 5 minute walk away from Excel.
Has it moved?
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right, well, yeah, oh, I hadn't realised that. So
yeah,
there you
they've
go.
moved it. They've moved it.
All right, I
So
was still thinking of the old City Hall on the
yes,
South
indeed.
Bank.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and so we're excited. It's going to be an incredible event.
Fantastic. Well, look, Sanj, it's always good to catch up. I'm sorry I didn't get to be in Boston and see what was happening, but thank you for giving me your quick review of SLAS, but also giving the preview for the upcoming cell and gene therapy events of yours. The deadline is February the 20th, so please make sure you register if you're interested, and also a sneak preview of what we can expect from the brand new Drug Discovery 2026 in the USA, and obviously your 20th anniversary drug discovery as well. Now, viewers, everything Sanjay said, you'll be able to see some of it, not all of it, but as you said, Drug Discovery 2026 in Excel is not officially out, launched yet, but everything else is. So you can check
Mhm.
the website and register for those events. They are free, but as Sanjay's already said or several times, numbers are limited. So you need to get in early to register your interest so that you can guarantee yourself a spot. And it is all free as well. So, Sanj, genuinely, it's always good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you didn't talk about the cricket in front of everybody because it would have been very, very humiliating. But
Yeah.
good luck to India and whoever else they're playing. And viewers, I hope you found that interesting. Hopefully, I will see you at an ELRIG event in the not too distant future or another event if you're not there. And until next time, as always, stay warm and stay safe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.